If you don't like boring news but still crave the truth, then dive into The Robert and Crew Show. From mind-bending conspiracy theories to wild weather phenomena, we've got it all. Ever wondered what's really happening in your hometown, or what secrets the global news isn't telling you? We dig deep into the core of every story, unraveling the mysteries one podcast at a time. Join Robert and the crew as we navigate this vibrant, ever-changing cyberpunk landscape, bringing you interviews with the most intriguing minds out there. Whether you're a skeptic or a believer, a news junkie or a weather enthusiast, there's something here for you. So strap in, listeners, because we're about to take you on a ride through the neon-lit alleys of truth and intrigue. This is the Robert and Crew Show, where the future meets the fantastic.
Welcome back to the Robert and Crew Show. As always, I'm the host, Robert.
And I'm the co-host, Crew.
And I'm Julie.
She's also a co-host.
Yeah.
All right, so yesterday, Julie and I had a chill night because this guy over here, his phone ain't working correctly, and yeah, he got to get that fixed, brother.
I know.
It's obvious that you just need another charger. If the charger you used worked, it's obviously you just need a new charger.
Yeah.
Somehow the charger you have broke or isn't doing what it's supposed to be doing. So you gotta have to go get yourself a new one.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go to the phone store that I go through and get me a new fast charger.
Yeah, so but luckily he charged his phone tonight and he's ready. Tonight we're doing the royal family and its occult connections. How basically it could be considered a cult at some points. So tonight, I hope you guys enjoy the show. We're gonna dive right in here. Crew picked up a lot of stuff, and he's gonna start us off tonight.
All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and start off with this real quick. The idea of a royal family cult connection often stems from speculative narratives, conspiracy theories, or critical commentary rather than veritable evidence. Below, I address the topic by exploring two primary angles: the British royal family's association with cult-like behaviors as discussed in the media and public discourse, in the specific case of the Prince Philip movement, a documented religious sect. I'll aim to separate fact from speculation while providing a clear, concise overview. 1. Claims of the British royal family as a cult. Critics, commentators, and some former associates of the British royal family have occasionally likened the monarchy to a cult due to its structure, secrecy, and control over members. These claims are largely metaphorical or analytical, not evidence of a literal cult. Key points include Meghan and Harry's testimony in their 2021 Oprah Winfrey interview.
Who?
Meghan
Hey,
and Harry.
Who? Okay, because you
Meghan and
broke up
Harry.
when you were saying that.
Oh yeah, Meghan and
Okay,
Harry's
Meghan and Harry.
testimony. All right, let's see. Where was I? Okay, hold on. I gotta go find it
Oprah
again.
Winfrey.
Yeah. Okay.
You were saying Oprah Winfrey.
Yeah. Meghan Markle and Prince Harry described a restrictive environment within the royal family, often referred to as the firm. Meghan highlighted isolation, loss of personal freedom, e.g., surrendering her passport, and lack of support during mental health struggles, including suicidal thoughts. Harry described his father and brothers as trapped within the institution. These accounts led some, like author Amanda Montell in her book Cultish, The Language of Fantasism, 2021. To draw parallels with cult-like characteristics such as exclusivity, strict protocols, and psychological control. Montel, whose father was raised in the Synanon cult, noted that the monarchy's lack of a singular authoritarian leader, unlike traditional cults, make it a unique case, but in secrecy and rigid traditions resemble cultish dynamics. Thomas Markle's statement, Meghan's father, Thomas Markle, in 2018 interviews with The Sun and other outlets, called the royal family cult-like, and compared them to Scientology or the fictional Stepford family, citing their secrecy and inaccessibility. These remarks were made amid personal grievances and his estrangements from Meghan, which may color their credibility.
So wait, so people literally have said that the royal family is basically to the likes of Scientology. They're saying they basically run their family like the Scientology cult. Oh my
And
goodness,
the
I
that's
thought
crazy.
Stepford
they were.
family, and the Stepford family as well.
Right.
Wow. I thought they were ran by like the Catholic Church.
Well,
I think the
this is
Catholic Church has they have a lot of pull with the royal family because, in Britain and in the United Kingdom and in overall of Europe, there's a lot of Catholics. So you got to think that the Catholic Church has to have some kind of pull with the royal family, but I don't know if they would like have enough to be controlling of them. I think it comes
Okay.
down to where the money is at. It's banks. There's certain banks that control them. The banks that print their money. So like the Bank of England, probably.
here's another key factor: media and public discourse. Some articles and podcasts, such as The Cult of the Royal Family 2021 and opinion pieces in The Star 2023, have labeled the monarchy a cult of personality, particularly around Queen Elizabeth II. They point to the intense public devotion, wealth disparity, e.g., the Queen's Euro 370 million net worth versus the average British salary of euros of 39,700. And media
Damn, I make
driven,
more than an average Brit.
yeah,
That's
and media
crazy. I
driven,
make more than an average Brit.
right?
How
And
insane.
right? And media driven image management as cult like. Critics argue that the monarchy PR efforts and the public's emotional investment create a quasi-religious fervor, exemplified by events like turning a Holocaust memorial garden into a temporary shrine for the Queen in 2022. However,
Wow, that's disgusting. That's
right,
disgusting.
Uh,
They should shame themselves. They destroyed a Holocaust memorial to build a garden.
hmm
oh my goodness.
What a freaking piece of shit fucking thing to do. Like, excuse my language, but God,
Oh, I
that
completely
is so bad.
understand.
That's so bad.
however, these are critics of posts cultural phenomena, not evidence of a formal cult conspiracy theories. Some ex posts and fringe sources allege darker connections, claiming the royal family is involved in satanic rituals, pedophile networks, or secret societies like the Freemasons or Illuminati. For example, posts reference unproven links to figures like Jimmy Savile or Jeffrey Epstein.
Jimmy Savile. Yeah, and Jeffrey Epstein. Well, the royal. So that's not alleged. No, that's not alleged no more. There is literal
No.
video out there of the prince's like personal aide or whatever who came out and said, yeah, I fought for Charles, or who was it? Was it who is it? Like, my God, the one that got caught with Epstein. What the heck is his name? I don't want to say the wrong name.
I know who you're
Ooh,
talking about, but
hold
Who
on.
is the prince? Crew? No, what? No, let's stay on this real quick. Who was the prince? Who's the prince that got caught up with Epstein?
All right, hold on. I'm getting there. Because this just I just read this and I'm like, oh, I got to read this. Okay. Often tied to Prince Andrew's documented association with
that's it.
Epstein, these claims
Yes,
lack
Andrew.
substantiated evidence and are
That's
frequently
bullshit.
dismissed as
That's
conspiracies.
bullshit.
David Icke's theory that royals are part of a reptilian alien
Yeah.
bloodline in another extreme, widely debunked narrative.
Look, I don't know why Grok is giving you that sack of shit answer about the royal family and the likeliness of them being together with Epstein. We have proof now. We have
Yes.
legitimate proof. A video has been released of, I believe it's James O'Keefe that released the video, but it's basically it's a hidden camera. Like, this dude doesn't know he's being recorded, and he's like, which that's shitty. He didn't know he was being recorded, but I mean, that's how you get information these days. You have to not let people know that they're being recorded, or you're never going to get the info you want.
Right.
But
There's
dude
a
said,
picture.
well, yeah, with him and Gouffre, yeah, who and
Yes.
Gouffre killed herself. She suicided herself. She unalived herself, which that's pretty goddamn suspicious.
I don't know if she
When
really did it to
she
herself,
didn't,
per
she
se.
didn't. I think whoever they are, they did it. They did it to Gouffre, and they've done it to
And
other
made
people.
it look like it was her
It was her, yeah.
unaliving
But
herself.
she came out two months or like 2 months or something before that, and wrote an
Saying she
entire
was
like
ready
thing
to.
saying, yeah, that she was not going to do that. I'm not under any circumstances going to end life, which all these people do. All these people come out and say that at one point or another, and then what happens to them? They unalive. And I'm like,
Yep.
this is
Yeah.
insane. All of these people are saying that they're not going to do that, and then they end up doing that. Either we're all being lied to, or, or literally they're being picked off one by some secretive alleged government entity, and that's absolutely absurd in my opinion. But in today's world, the conspiracy theorists are right. Like, we have to look at it from that way too, because a lot of the stuff that was said about Donald Trump, and a lot of people don't want to hear this because they want to hate Trump or whatever, but a lot of the conspiracies that were pushed around about him turned out to be completely false.
Yeah.
And it was the left that was pushing, the extreme left that keeps pushing these crazy conspiracy theories and this rhetoric. Like, I'm not saying Trump's a good guy. Like, I think he's doing really crappy things, and I think he's doing really good things. I think there's some really crappy things that are happening right now to people around the world. For instance, the big one right now for me would have to be like the student debt BS. There's so many people now that are going to have to pay off these insane student loans that they signed for when they were 18 years old and knew nothing about money, because school doesn't teach you about money. They put themselves in 180 to $390,000 worth of debt, and they end up having to pay that off their entire freaking life. Their whole life they have to pay that off. I know somebody in their 70s right now who is still paying their student loans, and the government won't waive them.
Wow.
If you have paid into your student loans for 30 plus years and you were over the age of 60 and you still have like 20 to $30,000 worth left, I think the government should just waive that. I'm sorry, they should just waive it. Can't cancel that debt out. If that person has been a good payer their entire life and they didn't miss payments, they were on time, they tried to pay down their loan as much as they could, but by the time they're 60 or 70 years old, they should not be paying on student loans anymore.
Yeah.
Some
Yeah,
of them have
I mean, you
dementia by
can't
then.
take blood from a turnip.
No,
exactly.
you can't milk a cow dry either.
Yes.
Which student loans, that's what that's doing to everybody. They're just slowly milking you dry. They're
Mhm.
like, "Oh, you have some money. Oh, okay." And then on top of that, they're going to be like, "Oh, we're going to make it easier to buy a house and we're going to make it easier for you to like take out a loan to get a house, but the house market is actually going to probably go up. So you're going to still be spending 350 to $450,000 to have a nice house, which then people are in over $1 million worth of debt. And that's right where they
Yeah.
want us.
Yeah.
That's right where they want us because then you're paying mortgages, you're funding the government. They can use your money to do their black budget bullshit, and they don't have to worry because they're overcharging the shit out of everybody. But they make you feel good about it. They're like, you're okay with it though because you have a nice place to live. You have semi good health care. I mean, you still have to pay for it. It's not going to be socialist health care. My God, that's such a horrible idea. Like,
Mm.
think about that. They won't let us have socialized medicine. If we have anything about medicine, okay, like, I think we should have socialized medicine. I think everybody should get health care. We should all pay a tax and everybody should have health care. If we're going to pay taxes, why don't we pay for taxes that actually matter? Because
Fair
they're not
point.
fixing the roads with your tax money. I would much rather put money into a fund that would pay off student loans for people or would legitimately give everybody health care. If everybody had to pay in a tax and you got free health care, like it's not free, obviously, because we're paying into it as a whole. But say everybody paid maybe $600 a year, unless you were subsidized or whatever. You paid a certain
I
amount
am.
monthly, like say like right, like say like $20 or $30 a month, unless you're subsidized, and then you pay like maybe $2 or $3, and it's barely anything. You know what I mean? And then everybody gets health care. You get to go to the hospital and you actually don't have to worry about, oh my God, how much medical debt am I going to accrue from breaking a fucking leg? Like something you can't control. People get cancer and they have to pay millions of dollars just to live. Like that's fucked up.
Mm.
It is. That's just crazy.
But
Well,
back to the royal family though. Like
yeah. Right here it says number 2, the Prince
we do have a
Philip
comment.
movement. The most concrete cult connection is the Prince Philip movement, a genuine religious sect among the Yao Yin tribe or
Okay,
Tana
just a
Island.
second. Crew, just a second. Matt said before the US government, student loan guarantees universities were so cheap that part-time job would pay for tuition out of pocket. Same with healthcare. When the government gets involved, the industries, the price raises and the quality decreases. You are 120% right, Matt. 120% right. I could not have said that better myself. That was like perfectly put.
Vanuatu, I guess how you say after Tanu Island. This is not a cult created by the royal family, but one that venerates a royal figure. Key details, beliefs. The Yao Henanen, I guess how you say it,
Can you
part of
spell it?
the
Can
uh,
you spell it? Because I did not understand what you said at all.
Yaohnanen.
Yeah, Henhun,
I guess.
something like that. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So they were. Oh, so what were they? They were a tribe.
Uh, yes. Part of the Castum people believe Prince Philip,
And
Duke of Edinburgh,
where were they located?
um, or Tana Island,
And that's like,
Vanuatu. Vanuatu.
where's that at? Is that like,
I have no clue. It's called Vanuatu.
okay?
Um, Part of the Castum people believes Prince Philip, Duke of Edinburgh, 1921 to 2021. That's his date of birth to his death.
Right.
Was a divine figure, possibly a son of a mountain spirit who married a powerful woman, Queen Elizabeth II, in a distant land called
Wait, they thought he
Britain.
was like a celestial being.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, that's crazy.
This
Wow.
belief, rooted in local mythology, likely emerged in the 1950s or 1960s and was reinforced during the royal couple's 1974 visit to Vanuatu. The sect is a form of cargo cult, cargo cult, a phenomenon where indigenous groups associate Western figures
Indigenous.
with spiritual or material prosperity practices and impact. Followers celebrated Philip's birthdays and mourned his death in 2021, lowering the Union flag and expressing condolences to the royal family. Anthropologist Kirk Huffman suggested that veneration might shift to King Charles III after Philip's passing, as Charles visited Vanuatu in 2018. The movement is small, confined to a few villages, and does not involve the royal family's active participation or endorsement. Context: the Prince Philip movement is a cultural and anthropological curiosity, not a sinister organization. It reflects how colonial encounters and local traditions can create a unique religious expressions distinct from the royal family's actions or influence.
All right. So there is something that I definitely want to get into tonight and talk about, and that's Princess Diana. Um, I have some theories on Princess Diana. Matt says the British royal family ancestry is traced back to Germany, not England. Yes, that is true.
That
And
is true.
they also had a very famous ancestor was Vlad the Impaler,
Yes,
and they're very
I've
proud of
heard of
it.
that.
They're very, very proud of it. Uncle Vlad. That's a crazy one. How the king, is it the king that's related to him? Who's related? Is it the king?
King
I
Charles.
think it might be the king. Yeah, he's directly related to Vlad the Impaler. It's so weird, like their actual roots and stuff. And like quite honestly, I think the royal family is just for show these days. I don't think they actually have any power. They're like glorified celebrities. I
Yeah.
wouldn't put it past I wouldn't put it past them to like have some kind of pool to like generate certain kinds of laws, but they're not going to have actual like, I think the only way their laws like actually matter are on their property. I would have to check, obviously. Like, I don't know how that works. I don't know how the cities and everything work. I presume the palace is probably considered its own territory or country or whatever. Like, you know how how Washington D.C. is not technically a part of America. It's
Mhm.
it's its own thing.
Yeah, like British
It's
Yeah.
Columbia.
yeah, it's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, Princess Matt also said that Princess Diana was known as the moon goddess, and the tunnel where she died was a satanic death ritual. The Rothschilds are also related to Vlad and from Germany, for sure. Rothschilds, man, there's something else. There was a Rothschild that just I heard about recently who like went out to see a lost tribe and never came back and was probably cannibalized allegedly.
Mm.
Hmm.
Um, so Princess Diana, her death was likely an accident. That's what everybody says, but I got my own little theories around this. I got some harmful conspiracy theories.
I believe
They
it.
they claim it's not a conspiracy based on critical investigations and official investigations. I don't believe the official investigations. I think it's a crock of shit. Official investigations are always a cover up. They're always a cover up. If there has to be like an official investigation done by the royal police, you best bet if it's going to hurt the royal family, they're going to cover it up.
No,
Allegedly.
yeah.
Right.
Um,
Because
many theories.
apparently Princess Diana was on her way back home to see the now king.
Yeah.
Uh, so yeah, I watched the show. I was actually almost in tears watching that ending of hers. I mean, I
Yeah.
know it happened, but watching the actual show, oh my goodness, I was almost crying.
So many of the harmful conspiracy theories claim that she was murdered by the royal family, her own blood, or MI6. The evidence leans toward these being unfounded. So of course they're still telling us that's crazy. There's no way that happened. Okay. So the controversy persists due to public fascination because the public just does not believe anything surrounding Diana, and personally, I believe they have every right to feel that way.
Yeah.
Shit
Exactly.
is fucking wacko and sketchy.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, her
Um,
phone was even tapped.
oh, her phone was
Do
tapped. She
you
was being
remember?
watched on a daily basis.
Yes.
We have proof that Diana was followed basically everywhere she went. She would purposefully try to lose her convoy because she felt like she was being watched by her family.
Yes.
There was a famous quote that I found from Diana that kind of disappeared, so now I can't even say it's real because I can't seem to find it again. And maybe it was just some bullshit that I spewed, but I swear to God, I saw a quote about her being so afraid of the queen. Like she was definitely afraid of the queen.
Hmm.
So, that's a thing too. Like she was afraid of her family allegedly. I can't say that's for sure. I don't have proof of that. Not anymore.
I've heard something along those lines, but I can't remember exactly.
Yeah.
But I know
So
that the
pretty
queen honored her or something. She was
well,
sad
of course,
when,
they all have to keep up for their public appearance. I mean,
yes,
if you allegedly killed your a family member, you think anybody would believe you if you were happy? if you if you were happy or throwing a party the same night or something? No, they all had to act depressed, sad, and somber, right? That's what they had to do.
yeah,
They had to play it off like they lost a part of their family. But anyways, Princess Diana died in a car crash on August 31st, 1997, in Paris. It was an event that shocked the world. While official inquiries concluded it was an accident. Uh huh. Sure. Allegedly.
Yeah, her
Numerous
driver was
conspiracy theories.
allegedly drunk.
Numerous harmful conspiracy theories have emerged, fueled by high-profile involvement of the royal family. The main findings of the investigation were as follows. The French inquiry and Operation Paget found no evidence of foul play, absolutely none. The crash was attributed to the driver's intoxication. He was completely drunk and the paparazzi was chasing them. Despite this, theories like her being pregnant or targeted by MI6 persist, though they lack any credible evidence. If the entire public thinks that maybe Diana was murdered, then why don't we look into that? Why are we so afraid of looking into that?
They're probably afraid of what they're going to find out.
Oh, they know what they're gonna find out. They already know. They already know.
Yeah. I
And
actually got with Princess Diana, I actually got some stamps that have her picture on it. I don't know
keep
if they're
those.
worth anything or not, but I'm
Keep them.
keeping them.
Keep them. They'll be worth something when people no longer use mail at all. They will definitely be worth something. So, the Princess Diana was known as the People's Princess. She died in a tragic car crash on August 31st of 1997 in Point del Alma Tunnel in Paris, alongside her boyfriend Dodi Fade and driver Henry Paul, with bodyguard Trevor Reese Jones surviving. The event marked the global grief and has since been surrounded by numerous conspiracy theories, despite the official investigation concluding it was a complete accident. This note provides a comprehensive overview. These theories, the origins, the basically where they come from, and why they keep persisting, reflecting the state as of May 28th, 2025. Uh, Diana's death led to immediate speculation given her status, strained relations with the royal family, particularly after the 1998 divorce from Prince Charles. Official investigations include in 1999 French inquiry and 2004 to 2008 Operation Page by the Metropolitan Police Department. They examined the circumstance. The French inquiry concluded the crash resulted from Henry Paul's drunk driving, the paparazzi chasing them, with no evidence of foul play. Operation Paget was costing millions, and reviewing 175 theories also found no conspiracy attributing the crash to the same factors. In 2007 to 2008, the inquest returned a verdict of unlawful killing due to reckless driving by Paul and the paparazzi, reinforcing the accident narrative. So they really want you to believe this was just a car accident. Um, it's pretty crazy. So Henry Paul was possibly a Secret Service agent for the United States of America at one point in his life.
Wow.
He was allegedly paid by the British, French, or U.S. security services. Oof. Mohammed Al-Fayed claimed that Paul worked for MI6 and was a setup. Operation Paget found no evidence that Paul was an agent for any secret security services. The inquiry was dismissed, so they dismissed that claim. Alleged blood tests showed high alcohol levels were unreliable, suggesting tampering. Challenged by British pathologist hired by Al-Fayed, vitreous fluid confirmed alcohol and antidepressants. DNA testing confirmed samples that were Paul's, though the coroner noted issues with the DNA test. They looked like they had been messed with. Jury verdict identified Paul's drunk driving as contributing to the crash. Okay, so they're not even denying that the autopsy was.
Wow.
Yeah, beware of who and what cannot be questioned. True. This is all for entertainment, brother.
Yeah.
I don't know anything that I'm talking about. I'm full of shit. I am completely retarded. I know nothing. I just like to have fun and think about things, and I love it. But this British pathologist man, he thought that things were tampered with. He said things were tampered with. It did not look normal. It looked like the alcohol was possibly added later to the blood. So of course the alcohol content was going to be higher in the DNA because there was actual alcohol added to the blood,
Hmm.
allegedly. But they still passed it off as dude was drunk and driving. Um, they said he had a
But
12.8% to
how?
20.7%. That he was
That doesn't
so
make sense.
they said he was
Mm,
so intoxicated he shouldn't have been able to function. How was he driving a car?
exactly. It doesn't, like I said, let it make sense. It doesn't.
They attributed him smoking cigarettes and post-crash airbag to gas inhalation. Dr. Murray found levels that were explainable. Operation Paget concluded mundane factors like cause readings.
Hmm.
Matt said Diana likely knew lots of secrets. Remember 10 years ago when a naked boy jumped out of the royal palace window? So I don't remember hearing about that, but I totally believe it. I would like I'm probably gonna research that. There's been a lot of weird things that happen with the royal family. There's an Epstein connection. I think we all know it. There's a big Epstein connection. There's a connection to MI6, obviously. There's some connections to just some evil people, and I think there's a very good chance, then, as I said before, for entertainment purposes only, that the royal family might
Yeah.
be a family of lizard guys. They really might be reptilian lizards. I don't know.
Yeah.
Freaks
And
me out to
then
just
there
think
was a
about it.
car that crashed into um who's the Princess of Duchess Kate. Somebody crashed into their gate.
Well, wasn't there a whole thing where one of the royal who is the woman that married into the family that basically went missing for a while and nobody knew if she was okay?
Um,
Do you remember that? That was a big thing with the royal family. Like this lady that married into the family like disappeared from the scene for a while.
was it Anne?
And I don't know.
I don't know, honestly, who it was. I can't remember, but I did hear about that.
Yeah, she like disappeared for a while and there were a lot of people worried about her and they were asking like where she
Yeah.
was and if
And
she
then
was
she ended
okay.
up
And
showing up. I
she
forgot her name now, but
magically
now,
reappeared.
yeah.
She magically reappeared. What was her name? Matt, do you know her name? Drop it in the comments. What I'm talking about.
Well,
Um,
he's figuring that out, and we're all trying to figure that out. I want to read this one part real quick. It's number 3.
the
Um,
royal family has been alleged to be high-level Freemasons and Satanists. Again, the lady that married into the royal family recently that went missing from like the media and the paparazzi didn't have any pictures of her and nobody knew what happened to her and then she mysteriously reappeared. I'm just forgetting her name. But everybody in the world was like worried about this lady and they were like trying to figure out if the royal family had like done something crazy against this lady. I don't know her name.
mm.
But what were you saying, crew?
Number 3, critical analysis cult like characteristics. The royal family's structure, heretical, tradition bound, and secretive, can significantly resemble cult traits like control, isolation, and devotion to an ideal, the monarchy. However, it lacks core cult
Oh
features.
yeah, Duchess Kate. There you go, Kate. That was her name.
Mm,
I do. I do remember that now.
like charismatic, all-powerful leader or explicit indoctrination. The monarchy operates within cons- constitutional framework, and its influence is cultural, symbolic, not coercive in the way cult typically are. Critics like Montel and Harry's Memoir Spar 2023 highlight emotional and social pressures, but these are more akin to institutional dysfunction than a cult historical context. The monarchy's historical ties to colonialism and wealth, e.g., crown
You're
jewels
breaking up real
linked.
bad, bro.
Okay, hold on. The monarchy's historical ties to colonialism and wealth, e.g., crown jewels linked to colonial looting, fuel
Colonial.
distrust. Yeah, fuel distrust and conspiracy theories are seen in posts on X and articles like the Elephant 2021 allegations of racism, such as Meghan and Harry's claim about concerns over their baby's skin color, or the
Oh,
1960s documents varying colored immigrants from certain palace roles and perceptions of an elitist exclusionary institution. These issues, while serious, pertain systematic flaws rather than cult activity. Speculation versus evidence. Conspiracy theories about satanic rituals or secret societies rely on an anecdotal or fabricated claims, often amplified on platforms like X. They lack credible documentation and should be approached with skepticism. The Prince
yeah, because
Philip movement,
they don't want you to know what the royal family's doing. Like
right?
even they just tell us over and over and over again, but there's no proof of any of this. People say they're secretive and that they're satanic, but no, there's no proof of this. Just
Right.
like how you ask it if the royal family is a direct connect to Jeffrey Epstein, and it tells you no, there's no proof of that. Like what? What do you mean there's no proof of that?
The Prince
We have
Philip movement, while real, is unrelated to these conspiracies and involves no royal agency. Now, this is where it gets interesting. Number 4. Conclusion: the royal family cult connection primarily refers to two distinct phenomena. Metaphorical critics of the monarchy's cult-like traits: secrecy, control, public devotion, and the Prince Philip movement, a small Venetu sect venerating a royal figure. The former is a subjective interpretation supported by personal accounts like Meghan and Harry's, but not indicative of a literal cult. The latter is a documented anthropological phenomenon separate from the royal family's actions. Conspiracy theories about darker connections, e.g., Satanism, pedophilia, lack credible evidence and are largely speculative.
Yeah, because there's no photo of anybody with Virginia Giuffre, and there's no claims against anybody, and there's no shadow of a doubt that she was underage, and there's no shadow of a doubt that we have proof confirming that he did this kind of stuff now. So I find it quite funny that all of these places are still like, no, 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 it didn't happen. We have legitimate proof now. Like,
Now, now
it
right
happened.
here, this is where I was digging more deep to get more information. This is what it says. There's no solid historical evidence that the royal family was involved in actual cults, but some incidents and behaviors have been interpreted as cult-like over time. For instance, in the 16th century, Queen Elizabeth I court had an almost worshipful devotion to her image, with propaganda paintings her as a semi-divine figure, which some historians likened to cult dynamics, though it was more political than religious. Also, the Freemasons have had ties to royalty, like King Edward VII and King George VI were members, but that's more a secretive society than a cult. And there's no proof of dark rituals or anything like that. The closest concrete example is still the Prince Philip movement in Vanuatu, which I mentioned before. But that's about their worship of him, not him starting a cult. Conspiracy theories about satanic stuff or secret societies pop up, especially on X, but there are mostly baseless and lack credible sources. There's no
They're all fake.
there's no
They're all fake.
definitive
Every last
yeah there's no definitive evidence that the royal family was directly involved with any cult, but some conspiracy theories and historical speculation suggest otherwise. For example, claims about ties to secret societies like the Freemasons or figures like Jimmy Savile over circulate, especially on X, but these lack solid proof and are mostly dismissed as rumors. If you're thinking of anything specific or cold, let me know and I can dig deeper. Yeah, okay, Grok, whatever. But yeah, that's what all I could get on that. And
No,
I
for
was
sure.
digging deep.
But what do you think about what do you think when you think about everything that happened with Diana? Why do you think they did it, or do you think they know who did it?
I think there's a 50, it's 50-50. They know who did it and they are behind it, but they're not saying who did it within their group.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm kind of going along that line
Because here's the
because we
thing,
know the guy that was driving was drunk.
right? That
The
that is proven.
paparazzi was following them.
That is proven. The guy that was driving was drunk, but at the same time,
It looked like the
How
evidence was
drunk?
tampered with.
right? Because
Yeah.
here's the thing. Here's the thing. When the royal family does not like someone, they're going to try to make someone disappear.
Yeah.
They've
I
always
think
been like that.
I think
They've always been
allegedly.
like that over.
Allegedly.
Well, here's the thing. It's actually
Allegedly.
proven. No,
I
hold
don't
on.
want to get kidnapped
Well,
by the royal
I'm
family.
just saying in historical evidence throughout history, every royal
Yeah.
family that has ever ruled has found ways to make people disappear. They'll
Oh yeah, for
they'll
sure.
they'll kill you for
They'll
saying the
unalive
wrong
you.
thing, doing the wrong thing,
Allegedly.
blasphemy. You did this wrong. You're
Allegedly.
gone. And
Allegedly.
I watched a video recently about a royal couple. They were married, but the lady, the princess, had a secret affair, and the king found out, and with the head, and put it in a case or something, and put it in the princess's room, and made her see it every day and night because
What?
of yes,
What? That's diabolical.
yes,
Well, here's the thing. When it comes to royalty, they don't play. When you mess up, they're gonna find ways to manipulate. They're gonna find ways to make
Yeah,
you
they're
submit.
above the law. They're above the law, right?
Yeah,
mhm,
Basically,
yeah.
like
and I mean that
they
was
have immunity everywhere.
historically that happened. I'm not sure exactly the exact date, but I mean
And
historically long ages ago.
historical facts. Here's something that they also believed in
Freaking
back in the
lizard.
old days. They believed in keeping it within the family.
Yeah, no, I know they
Yeah,
were really bad with incest, but
Yeah,
a
yeah,
lot of royal families were.
and they had a
They
lot of like royals who end up coming with really bad deformities. Like there was
yeah,
one prince, or I think king, who they had to feed because he could not eat, he could not move, he could
yeah,
not function. And then there was another prince who had like really bad legs to where he couldn't like walk very well.
yeah.
yeah.
Yes, I watched about that one too.
And then there was a baby who looked so
Messed
like
up.
messed up and evil looking that it was all messed up. Like, yeah, they're trying to say that there's no that the royal family is not cultish, but they're cult like, which is true because they've done so many cultish like things throughout generations.
Well, and then
And
there's all the rumors of the Freemasonry and
Mhm.
the rumors of
Satanic rituals.
their well, there's the satanic rituals, sure, and the rumors of like the tribes like worshiping certain royals, thinking they were celestial gods. Like
Mhm.
what?
And then you have
Like,
the reptilian
right?
bloodline.
They're
Um,
all lizards. They're all
yeah,
lizard
like
people.
yeah, and like there's been some videos out there where you would watch. I don't know
Oh,
if it's
they're all
like
doctored. They're all
y-
doctored.
yeah, they're all doctored where you could if you look like very carefully, they'll make it to where the eyes like
Yeah.
flicker.
There's no real video of reptilian shape shifting. I wish there was. That would be the coolest freaking thing in the entire world. I'd be scared because I'd be like, "Oh my god, they really do live among us." But from what I've heard about like what people talk about reptilian people, and now like they say that they're people that resemble lizards. They're not actually lizards, but I don't know.
But that's all legend because we can't prove it.
Matt said, same with ancient Egyptian pharaohs, highly inbred. A lot of current elite traditions date back to then. Yeah, there's a lot of Osiris worship. There's a lot of Ra worship, and there's a lot of Ishtar, Isis worship. A lot of cultures embraced the ancient Egyptian gods. A
Oh
lot
yeah.
of cultures did.
Mhm.
I myself actually follow Anubis, so I too take part in following an ancient Egyptian deity.
And like for here's a perfect example: King James, right? Being in the
Yeah, King James.
royal, yeah, King James. He had the power to literally take books out of the Bible because
Yeah,
he
sure.
thought they were meant to be in the Bible, like the Book of Enoch, for a major
Well,
example, which is one of my favorite
didn't
books to read.
didn't James take the version that the Catholics took and then just tweaked the version that the Catholics had? Or am I wrong?
I
that
don't
the
know.
Catholics do.
I
Like
don't know
I
that
always
for a
wondered.
fact.
Like
Actually, you know what? To help us settle that argument, uh, or not argument, that like question, go see if Rock knows.
it says
That will help.
King
That
James was allegedly a Freemason. That's what Matt said. Matt said King James was allegedly a Freemason. I completely
right.
believe that.
Oh wow.
Let me see this. Okay. What was the question again? I just blanked.
Did King James take some of the Catholic Bible and use it for his Bible?
How how did King James get his Bible?
King James didn't exactly get his Bible. He commissioned its creation in 1604. He wanted a new English translation for the Church of England, so he gathered scholars who worked on it for years, and it was published in 1611.
There you go. So he had people create it. So yeah, he could have definitely taken from the Catholic Bible, but he basically said, I want the best Bible scholars around to write the best Bible possible for me. And he probably said, please leave out like crazy things so I don't have to speak to what this means. Just add what you know and what you believe and what you think should be in the Bible. And that's what happened. I think a lot of things happen that way. I think when it
Yeah.
comes down to like royalty and it comes down to like the people that run our countries, there's definitely certain parts they're going to want to leave out, especially if those certain parts relay a certain line or they change the entire subject of the Bible. That's not necessarily something they'd want. Religion's kind of
William
technically controlled.
William Tyndale was one of those scholars that helped write that book for King James.
Yeah, the Bible scholars, they are it's interesting back then because there was only a select few people that were allowed to read the Bible, and a lot of the Bible was written in was it Latin? Like I don't remember, like
Yeah, I believe it was Latin.
yeah the first Bible ever written was in Latin, and it was a huge Bible,
No,
and or which what was it written in? It was
Okay.
written in
So
something, and only a couple of people could translate it, and basically one of the guys translated it into English so everybody could read it, so everybody could understand what it was, and he had to gift it to the Pope before he did this. Like he gifted the Pope his own version of it, and he said, "I translated the Bible into a way that we can all understand it, and that people can now read it."
I
And
believe that was William Tyndale because I watched the whole
yeah,
video of him. But
okay.
yeah,
King James,
the only point of him giving that Bible to the Pope.
King James actually saved William Tyndale from being
Uh-huh.
unalived so that
Yeah,
he could help write that version for him.
Okay.
yeah.
So this is what I pulled. This is what I was able to pull up. King James didn't directly remove books from the Bible, but King James Version (KJV) excluded certain books known as the Apocrypha, which were included in earlier translations. The Apocrypha contains books like 1 Esdras, 2 Esdras, Tobit, Judas, Rest of Esther, Wisdom, Sirach. I'm not going to say the other word because it starts with D and it's really long. And Baruch and the Estro.
That was comedic. I'm not going to say the other word because it starts with a D and it's super long.
It really is, and I'm not going to try to pronounce it. I'm just going to say Sirach because that's what it translates.
Kind of
Um,
like Sarah.
right. Uh, but the main reasons for excluding these books were lack of divine inspiration. Protestant reformers believed that the Apocrypha wasn't divinely inspired and shouldn't be part of the Bible, not included in the Hebrew Bible. The Apocrypha wasn't part of the Hebrew Bible, which was the primary source for the Old Testament.
Yeah,
Controversial teachings.
they didn't believe, so the books that were left out, they didn't believe were actual books of the Bible. They believed them to be forgery books that were added into the Bible. They were books that they believed didn't make any sense. That was why the book of Enoch was left out. That was why some other books were left out, because in mainstream Christianity, the Christians do not believe the book of Enoch is real. They look at that and they're like, that is a fraudulent book. That there's no truth behind it. And then you look at the Catholics and they have it in there and they're like, nope, this book is real. This book is 100% real. So
Well,
you start to wonder, like, what's real and what's
And they
not
also
real,
have
and what's been messed with and what hasn't been.
they said controversial teachings. Some books in the Apocrypha contain teachings that were seen as heretical or inconsistent with Protestant beliefs.
Hmm.
With Protestant or Protestant?
Protestant.
Or Protestant. Or Protestant? Okay.
Protestant. Yeah, it's Protestant.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, no. So like the Bible stuff is weird, man. Like we
Right.
honestly, like we didn't discover the book. We just had the book given to us. So we don't know what part of the book is real and what part of it's not real. We have to trust everybody that's around us who's saying, yes, this book has been like this forever. And we have to trust in our heart that we believe that book. So
So
I think
the
that's a big
only
reason why a lot of atheists out there, which there's not a lot of atheists anymore, by the way, they claim that like 75% of the world now has claimed some religion, like some kind of religion, even if it's a made up religion in their own head. Like
the
75% of the world has claimed some kind of religion. So
right.
think about that.
So the only concrete evidence that we have that they found, which after I say this, we should. I'm going to move back to the royal family. The only concrete evidence that they found, anything Bible related, was the Dead Sea Scrolls.
Yeah.
But the other books, I can't really say because I don't know. But the only concrete evidence we have that was Bible related was the Dead Sea Scrolls.
Yeah, well, that's because they found in the Dead Sea Scrolls, one of the books that came out of the Dead Sea Scrolls was identical to the book in the Bible. Was identical. Like there was nothing different from it, and they were like, "Okay, we think this book for sure is 120% real."
Right.
I don't remember what book that was. What book was that, crew?
It was like the biggest one. I think it was Joshua.
Job is
I don't
pretty
know.
big too. I would have to go back and look.
Yeah, but it was word for word, basically, in the Dead Sea Scrolls, and that was the big thing behind the scrolls was they had a Bible book word for word,
Hmm.
which was unheard of. Like to find, and that was an earlier. Those scrolls were apparently earlier than most of the Bibles we have. So the crazy thing was that book was word for word on that scroll.
Yeah.
Think about that. Like that's crazy. So there's some truth behind those stories. And I've
Oh yeah.
always said that. I think there's definitely truth behind the Bible stories.
Oh
If you look
yeah,
at any
there is.
religions, if you look at any and all religions and almost any and all cultures, they all have a great flood theory. All of them have a great flood.
Mhm.
Literally all of them. So I mean, guys, I might be crazy, but I think the Great Flood happened. I think
Oh,
it
I
happened.
know. I believe it did.
Yeah.
But
So
yeah,
There's signs.
but
it's hard to
anyway,
not believe that stuff.
that's the whole thing with King James, though. That was the one thing he did, when it came to his power in the monarchy.
Oh yeah, he had the book written for him.
Yeah, because when it comes to the monarchy, which I'm gonna call them the monarchy because that's their cult name.
Oh yeah, they're
You know?
king. It's a kingship.
Yeah,
It's a
yeah,
monarchy. It's a
yeah. So
country ruled by a king.
every monarchy is always cult-like, no matter what.
To a point,
Eh,
they
Yeah,
want worship. They want you to worship them,
yeah,
and we see that with certain statistics like how that you said that one prince would go to an island and meet this tribe, and the tribe would worship him like he was some kind of celestial god,
right.
and that is absolutely insane. Like
And we see
that's so
that with a
crazy.
lot of royalty, pharaohs. Um, it doesn't matter. Any royalty uh, always wants to be worshipped,
Yeah,
and that's
you
one
have
thing
to
that cult
offer them
leaders
things.
like the most
Yeah.
is being
You have to
worshipped.
offer them things, man. Like I don't like I know in today's society and like the British family or whatever, like you probably only have to like pay a certain amount of tax that goes to them or something. But back in the day, you had to like offer your like best cow, and then like you had to give them like crazy things that would like put your life at risk, but would enrich theirs. So like
Oh,
when you
yeah.
look at that, like you had to do that, like that's devious. That's devious. And all of them did it. The pharaohs did it, the royal family did it, the royal family of other countries did it. I mean,
They
you
would
gotta look at it.
commoners would also offer their own children to
Yep,
royalty
Yeah.
to
yep,
work for the royals.
yep.
And
Because it would define a great life for them, even though when we look at it now, most servants were killed or thrown away. Um, they never got to live a great life of gratitude working for the royal family. That was not something
exactly.
you wanted to do.
Oh yeah, no. Because here's the thing about the royal families. They were either there were some that were very kind and generous and treated their servants with respect, but there was a lot of them who were cruel and um
There's a there's a famous castle. I don't I would have to look up the exact location of where it's at, but Sam and Colby went there, and a couple other people went there, and in this castle, there's literally a shaft that was filled with dead bodies, and like the bones of those people are still down there, and like literally the royal family would like push their servants down this shaft when they would get upset with them or would be done with them. And like famously, like two of the princes in that family got into a fight, and one of the princes pushed the other prince down the that says Llama Castle. Okay.
mhm.
Yeah, so insane. But one of the princes pushed the other prince down the shaft and killed his brother,
But yeah,
allegedly.
the word I was looking for,
So
okay, not only cruel but sadistic and
yeah, the Royals do that all the
menacing,
time.
and just straight out manipulative and um what was the other word I was looking for? Um it was crap. I can't think of it, but yeah, that every everything that you can think of evil wise, they were like that because that's how they believed in power. Knowledge is power, or power is power.
They wanted control.
Oh yeah.
All of those families want control. And
Mhm.
when you have the kind of control that they had, they weren't worried about about the normal human. They knew that they were going to get money from those people, from the normals around them. They treated themselves like gods. A lot of them still do. I think the royal family now, though, in today's society, is treated more like a glorified celebrity family. They're just followed around by the paparazzi and treated like crazy family.
Like a little puppy.
A cult means hidden, for sure. Matt says a cult means hidden. You are
this
100% right. Cult
this is
objects
the
all throughout.
yeah, this one right here, right? Okay. This one is one thing that I never liked about the royal family throughout history. Now, if let's say you're a prince or a princess, right?
Yeah.
And you do one wrong thing that the king or queen does not like. They decide to off you, right?
Yeah.
The first things they'll say before they get rid of their children that they're upset with, and they say, "All right, you're no longer needed. You're dead. You're
Yeah.
replaceable."
Yeah. Allegedly.
Oh no, it's proven.
No, I know.
I've read when I was doing my research on
I don't want to get
you know
kidnapped, crew.
no
I don't want to get.
no. I'm talking about historical evidence throughout in the old medieval days, right?
I'm just messing with you.
Yeah, I know. In the medieval days, when when the kings or queens not like certain things that their children would do, and their children would rebel and not do exactly what they were taught, and told, and they wanted to do their own thing, and the head of the family got tired of it and said, "All right, you're no longer needed. You're either you're exiled or you're banished or you're going
Or it's
into
locked in a
the
clock tower.
the dungeon, or you're going sent into the top of the tower, or you're just gonna die." The first things they will say to you after saying that's gonna happen, what's gonna happen to you? You're replaceable.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I believe it.
And
There's a lot of
that's one thing I
shitty things.
hated about the royal families throughout medieval times.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that was like Vlad the Impaler used to impale people on spikes and eat his dinner or lunch while watching people slowly use gravity to pull them to their deaths.
Like another perfect example, I'm going to use a Game of Thrones reference real quick, um, because that has a lot of monarchy, um, relative to this subject. King Joffrey, right?
Right?
He made Sansa Stark, who was supposed to marry him, look at all her servants and her father and some of her guards heads on spikes. He made her look at her dead servants, guards, and father heads on a spike. That's how cruel.
Oh, Matt. I don't want to get kidnapped, Matt.
No, that's a Game of Thrones reference, though. I'm talking about a Game of Thrones
No,
reference.
no, I know. Look at this comment. I said I don't want to get kidnapped, Matt. He says the Royals are elite in conduct trauma-based mind control on children, so MK Ultra on kids. So they usually do what they're told, allegedly.
Yeah, allegedly, yeah, that's all alleged, but
Yeah,
But
like Princess Charlotte.
no,
yeah,
like okay, so
they
it's
couldn't
all
control
alleged, like
Diana.
Yeah.
with how everything that Meghan Markle and Prince Harry went through. It speaks for them. It speaks for itself with what they went through and why they distance themselves from the family, right?
Yeah, didn't they get excommunicated basically?
And
Pretty much.
here's what's even weirder. King Charles said he's not going to get rid of their titles, but they're
No.
excommunicated.
Yeah, because well, he's not gonna get rid of their titles because he's hoping they'll come back. All things can be mended with family, especially when you're part of that family. When you're part of
Yeah.
Oh
that
yeah.
family, he's like, dude, just come back so I can give you all this money when I die. And if you don't come back, you don't get the money. And I think eventually, if they feel like they need it, they'll go back and they'll get it. If not, he really has that big of a grudge against his family, then he won't come back.
Well,
But
his
the
reasoning.
father, regardless, I mean, I feel like everybody has issues in their family. It doesn't matter if you're a royal family or not, they all probably have issues. And I feel like in order for them to distance themselves the way that they did, they felt like they were wronged somehow by the family. So if they felt wronged, they definitely knew something or thought they knew something that was harmful and they wanted no part of it.
Well, it goes like this, right? Meghan Markle was trying to make such a great impression with the family, right? But she
Yeah.
felt like the family was not accepting her, like Queen Elizabeth. And
Charlotte
uh,
Bat doesn't like anybody. Or sorry, she didn't like anybody. She's not
right,
alive anymore.
right,
Rest in peace, Queen
yeah.
Elizabeth. You
Oh yeah,
lizard
rest in
person.
peace, Queen Elizabeth, one of the greatest queens of all time.
Oh yeah.
A lizard.
But no, but like,
Allegedly.
but Prince Harry, like, this is what I speculate. The reason why he distanced himself with his wife Meghan, uh, Meghan, because the fact the way he did not like how they treated her, his entire
No,
family. So
exactly.
he and her took their kid, came to America, and no longer communicated with the family.
Do they live here?
Yeah,
I didn't know they lived here.
I think they're
Yeah.
in California.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I did not know that. You learn something new every day.
And Princess
Elizabeth.
Kate. Princess Kate came to New York City for cancer treatment.
Yeah. It's crazy, man. Like, they still need the best healthcare, right? They're gonna go where they can
Yeah.
get the best healthcare. And like that's what sucks about America is that we do have the best healthcare, but none of us are okay with socialist medicine, so none of us get to use the world's best healthcare.
Yeah.
Think
Yeah.
about that. Like we have the world's best healthcare, but only 1% of the world gets to use that world's best healthcare. That's fucked. That's so messed up. Like we all got to deal with these crappy doctors that are fat and no absolutely like. Have you ever gone to a doctor that has told you that you're overweight, but they're actually like 200 pounds overweight themselves, and they're eating a candy bar when you come in there? That literally happened to me. I shit you not. I got told that
Wow.
I was 30 pounds obese by a guy who is literally 250 plus pounds, and he was not supposed to be. His body did not function that way, and he was fat. Like this dude was huge. And he was basically telling me that I needed to lose weight. I could not believe what I was hearing. Needless to say, I never went back to that doctor.
No, I don't
When
blame you.
when I went in there, dude was talking about how I needed to eat better while he was literally eating a fucking Snickers bar.
That's not nice. No.
I know, right? Like, what the hell? Like, how are you going to tell me about my nutrition and calling me fat when you're 250 pounds overweight? and you're eating like shit in front of me. Like, it blew my mind. I
Yeah,
couldn't
that's
believe it.
wow.
Matt says, I lived in Sweden recently. They have socialized medicine. They get to decide to not do anything, and my wife die. That sucks. Socialized medicine sounds good. I'll say it does sound good. But at the same time, I am sure that there are extreme fucking setbacks in some parts of socialist medicine that is absolutely horrible. That still fucks people over and hurts people and all of that. It depends on who's running the medicine. Like, you can call a place socialized medicine and still not receive direct funds, and basically, yeah, exactly, Matt. Long waits. That's another problem. You see that in Canada all the time, where like you hear about how good Canada's healthcare system is, and then you find out the truth about it is that you might be dying and you're going to have to wait in a line that wraps around the block for the hospital, and it's like a
Wow.
9-hour wait, and you might die while waiting. So like that part of socialized medicine, yeah, that's ridiculous. That sucks. But it's also understandable, because if you do allow everybody to go to the hospital, then if you don't have enough hospitals and enough doctors, the hospitals you have are going to be overran.
Mm-hmm.
So the only way to legitimately do socialized medicine would be you would have to build up more hospitals. And then on top of that, you would have to find a way to like literally pay people what they're worth, which would be very hard if they were working off of a tax-based system. Because like how like your heart surgeon wouldn't be paid a multi-million-dollar salary, neither would your brain surgeon. They would have to take a huge pay cut. I don't think they'd be okay with that. You know what I mean?
Oh
And those
yeah.
guys, I do think that those guys deserve the money, but healthcare in America is so fucking corrupt, bro. Like, basically, they're all owned by big pharma. They're pushed to press pi- or sorry, they're pressed to push pills such as opiates and ADHD medication and benzopines, or whatever they're called, Xanax. Just they get huge kickbacks for that. They make money when they sell that stuff. So of course doctors put you on it. Like SSRIs, they get huge kickbacks from putting you on an antidepressant.
Oh yeah.
And like,
Oh yeah.
what the hell do you know about being depressed? You know what I mean? You might feel bad, you might want to unalive or something crazy like that. You might actually be depressed, but a lot of the times if you get out and you like force yourself to exercise and do things and take care of your body, you tend to come out of depression. That's
I'll
what they
put it
don't
like
tell you.
this.
They
I'll
don't
put it
tell
like
you
this.
that. If you take this pill, make everything better. But in all
I'll put it like
reality,
this
they're getting a bunch of money from putting you on that pill, making you a
because
forever customer.
I, being one perfect example, me, who's gone through uh the mental health issues, right?
Yeah.
Um, going
Matt said,
through.
a second, Matt said, I lived in Germany. MDs got paid so little, the worst MDs remained. Exactly. If you can't pay the right amount for your doctor, you are literally screwing yourself over, because basically with socialized medicine, all of the doctors have to be paid the same. That's the shitty thing. You're going
Right.
to have these good doctors, these brain surgeons and these heart surgeons and these doctors that specialize in certain things, who are no longer going to want to be a doctor because they're not going to be getting paid good. And as
But
much as we all hate to say it, the world runs on money, and the world runs on money. People get into careers for the money. They like helping and saving people, but they also get into that career distinctively for the money.
Oh yeah.
I've learned
Oh
it
yeah.
like this. So, like I'm saying,
Sorry, bro.
You're good. So when it comes to my mental health, and I went through these programs, right, to help with seeing a nurse practitioner to get me on my medicine, and also seeing a therapist. I looked at it that the medicine doesn't help. None of the medicine that they ever gave me, none of it ever helped. It would either make me too sleepy, too tired, too aggressive, too angry, too closed off, like literally shut off to the world where I would not function. Like I would be a robot.
SSRIs were not researched. The drug companies noticed that textile workers were affected by which textile dyes. That's where they got the drugs from. The dyes destroy the brain. 100%.
Yeah. But like I'm saying, so when
No tests exist to measure brain chemical imbalance.
right, exactly. I looked at it that talking to a professional like therapist is a lot more easier and beneficial than being forced on meds.
Well, yeah, and I think that some meds can affect people's chemistry in certain ways that can make people like happier. And like if
Mhm.
that works for you, then wonderful. Like you probably shouldn't take medicine. You should probably find a better way to cope and control yourself. But if you absolutely can't and you find a medicine that works for you, then I'm happy for you.
Right.
Most of the time, like I'm not saying 100% of the time, I'm saying most of the time, if you're depressed, what are you doing? You're sitting inside, either watching TV or doing nothing while laying on the couch or the bed, trying not to fall asleep and sleep all day and sleep all night.
That is
If
true.
you get out of that fucking bed or get off that fucking couch or turn that fucking TV off and go outside and run around and go do stuff and force yourself to get out,
And
you
touch
will come
grass.
out of that depression. Yeah, you'll come out of depression.
Yeah.
It's
And
because your body will create your body creates the chemicals that go to your brain. If you
exactly.
lock yourself off, if you lock yourself off from society and you self isolate, you are only going to make yourself worse. You're only going to make yourself worse.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So get out there and touch grass, folks.
Yeah, exactly.
Cause I'm
But
not kidding. I've gotten that into that depression state, and all I wanted to do was just sleep, and that's
right.
not a good thing at all. So
And
get up, move around.
but anyways, we are kind of getting off topic a little bit. Um,
Yep.
we got some videos.
I mean, we do. Yes, we do.
Cool.
Julie, we decided to do a few videos, not a lot. We're gonna do more talking because it's beneficial, and
Oh
people are
yeah,
starting to
for
get tired of
sure.
watching so many videos.
I don't blame
So
you.
this is the new route we're going.
A royal curse brought down an entire dynasty. The House of Habsburg had it all: power, wealth, and a chilling legacy of doom. Generations of madness. Their rulers faced bizarre deaths, from mysterious illnesses to tragic accidents. One king even lost his throne without a single blow. But that's not all. A family tree so twisted it's like a horror movie, insanity and betrayal at every turn. Which royal story shocks you the most? Comment below. Before the craziest detail, smash that subscribe button. You won't want to miss the wildest royal tales. And here's the kicker. Their cursed legacy led to the end of an empire. Coincidence or dark magic? You decide.
So what? That was the Hamburg.
Yep.
Okay. Matt says, "Yeah, I was super depressed after my wife died at 41 years old. I'm so sorry you had to go through that, Matt."
My condolences, Matt.
Yeah. I know that's got to be hard.
Oh yeah.
One of the causations is that the British royal family has been flat-lie royal since 1840.
Explain that.
Flat-lie royal means illegitimate, not allowed on the throne. So, from the Battle of Waterloo, the British royal family lost all their money and they've been funded by the Rothschilds in exchange for breeding rights. So the Rothschilds had the breeding rights to the British royal family from 1819 to 2019.
So what was the purpose of the Rothschilds needing this?
The British royal family were virtually bankrupt from 1815. So the Rothschilds funded the British royal family in exchange for the Rothschilds breeding the royals. So the whole British royal family are Rothschild Batards. And Batard is the royal name for bastard. So what I did in my legal documents is I exposed King George V of England as being sired by Tsar Alexander III of Russia, and I exposed Queen Elizabeth II as sired by artificial insemination by Winston Churchill, who was actually the illegitimate son of King Edward VII.
Hang on.
I know, it gets too much, so I'll show you a chart.
Okay. So you've got it all laid out for us to see?
Absolutely.
Wow.
That's a lot to take in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That the
Hey, Matt,
Rothschilds were
you're welcome.
using. Yeah, you are welcome, Matt. But it's crazy how supposedly the Rothschilds got the breeding rights to the royal family, which means they literally bred themselves into the royal family so that they could basically own the royals. That
I
is
think
such a crazy,
And the
harmful
fact that they
conspiracy
were,
theory to think about.
and the fact that the royals were bankrupt in 1815.
Yeah, it's a crazy thought.
When dealing with this family, certain sacrifices must be expected. For those who don't know, the royal family isn't quite the charming heroes the press would have you believe. Remember, this is the same family that roped a naive 19-year-old into their hellish world, only to be used, as Diana herself put it, as a brood mare, to produce a suitable heir, then practically discarded. The Windsors, really the German Saxe-Coburg-Gotha family, have enough money to single-handedly feed the world's poor. No one truly knows what they are worth because the private wealth of the royal family is kept a secret. But the truth is, the Queen and her heirs are worth trillions, having accumulated the wealth of their black nobility ancestors in land, homes, and other treasures. They have more than 300 residences. That's right, 300, including palaces, castles, and stately mansions. The Queen could sleep in a different luxury estate almost every night of the year. And still, taxpayers foot the bill for their luxury lifestyle each year.
Right there with you, Matt.
Yeah, Matt, you're 100% right on that. It's disgusting. It's sickening, and they're not gods. They're nothing like a god, and they should not be worshipped, in my opinion, at all. That's idolization. You worship the royals. That's worse than worshiping a deity, in my opinion.
Yeah, and all those people that just seem to rush to them and want that one look to be able to, they block them.
Yeah.
On August 6, 1946, Queen Elizabeth II, who was still Princess Elizabeth at the time, was initiated into the Druidic organization called the Gorsedd of the Bards of Wales during the National Eisteddfod at Mountain Ash, Glamorgan, Wales. The ceremony was led by Archdruid Cruice Williams. The Gorset of the Bards began as part of the revival of Druidic traditions in the 18th century. The word Druid can be traced back to the Proto-Indo-European root words deru, meaning tree or oak, and wid, meaning to know. Hence, it can be interpreted as literally meaning they who know the oak. A Druid was a member of the high-ranking priestly class of ancient Celtic cultures. They are known to have served as advisors to Celtic kings and chieftains, holding significant influence in pre-Christian Britain. They were religious leaders, legal authorities, lore keepers, and even medical professionals. Because they left no written records, most of the information we have about them comes from accounts by other cultures like the Romans and Greeks, where they were referred to as philosophers and men learned in religious affairs. The oldest known reference to the Druids dates to the 4th century BC, but the oldest detailed account is from Julius Caesar in the 1st century BC. Cicero wrote that they had knowledge of what the Greeks called physiologia, and that they could make predictions about the future. Diodorus Siculus wrote that they could predict the future by observing the flight and call of birds, or by making either animal or human sacrifices. Notably, however, many historians have asserted that claims about human sacrifice were nothing more than Roman propaganda intended to justify their own cultural superiority. After the Roman invasion of Gaul, the Druids were essentially wiped out, and by the 2nd century their knowledge and culture were suppressed to the point of disappearing entirely from any written record. Neo-Druidism began in the 18th century as part of a broader revival of interest in ancient Celtic traditions and spirituality. Since then, numerous other organizations have been established that still exist today. One of their symbols is called the Awen, although there is debate about its authenticity. It represents the triple aspect of the deity, as well as the triad of the sunrises at the equinoxes and solstices. In Welsh mythology, the Awen is the source of inspiration for poets and bards. Neo-Druids have defined Awen as flowing energy or life force. The order of bards, Ovatis, and Druids is a modern example of Neo-Druidism founded in the 1960s in England. Their teachings emphasize the sanctity of nature and belief in the other world. Many members identify as pagan, though the organization is inclusive of various spiritual paths, often drawing from the 4 pre-Christian Celtic nations' deities and related beliefs, such as ancestral worship, polytheism, spiritualism, and even atheism. Although she was stripped of her title of Honorary Ovate of the Bards of Wales in 2006 due to her not speaking the Welsh language, Queen Elizabeth's induction into the order can be seen as a modern echo of those ancient connections between Druidic figures and royalty. Isn't it fascinating that a culture which was almost erased from history could not only resurface, but also rise to a level of influence comparable to the days when they sat as advisors at the top of the power echelon?
Very
So she was into
interesting.
like occult druidism. Yeah, that's crazy. Matt says, if you want your channel taken down, do an episode on maritime admiralty law and the Crown Corporation, which owns the world. Yeah, I don't know if I want to have my channel taken down, but if I ever do, Matt, I will get right on that. I will go right to that episode. But I mean, I think
Oh, man.
another good way to get the channel taken down, guys, is if we did an episode on BlackRock and Vanguard. So quite honestly, like there's a lot of different ways I could get this channel taken down. I would much rather not have it taken down though. So
Right.
as of right now, we're gonna leave the super controversial stuff to Joe Rogan.
Mhm. Right.
Yeah. It makes me kind of wonder if the Catholic Church is a cult with some of their
Catholic
beliefs.
Church- Religion,
I
in
mean,
my
I'm
opinion, most religions started from a cult, in my
yeah.
personal belief. Yeah, I think it was all culty at the very beginning. I think different sects break off and become their own thing, and a lot of it's influenced by certain figures. not actually influenced by the religion itself. The religion is just what carries that figure to fame. So
Yeah,
you have
I
to look
think you mentioned that before.
yeah,
Now that
it's
I've
just
said
that's it
that.
feels grimy, like the way religion went just feels grimy. Feels like a
Yeah,
bunch of people trying to make money off of other people. And like honestly, people should just read the Bible and practice at home. Don't don't go to church these days. It's not worth it. I know like the community, like people enjoy the community and like I get that. Like if you love the community, then go to church. Like that's awesome. But just know that churches are ripping everybody off too.
Exactly.
It's a way for them to make money.
Yeah.
Did y'all ever see that movie, Midsommar?
What is it?
Midsommar.
no.
Mm-mm.
Let's listen to this because I can't explain it real well, but I know Grok can explain it to y'all real quick. Ex- oh, come on.
Sorry,
Explain Midsommar, the movie.
Midsummer is a horror film about a woman who, after a personal tragedy, travels with her boyfriend and his friends to a remote Swedish village for a midsummer festival. Things start off idyllic, but turn dark as the festival reveals its sinister rituals, and the group gets caught in a horrifying pagan cult's tradition.
And what happens in the movie?
As the festival progresses, the visitors witness increasingly disturbing ceremonies, including human sacrifices, and realize they're trapped. The story builds to a climax where the protagonist, grieving and manipulated, ultimately embraces the cult, finding a twisted sense of belonging as her friends meet gruesome ends. It's pretty intense.
Sounds like it's pretty
Yeah,
intense. I don't
Midsommar.
think I'd
Like
want to watch it
if
by
you guys,
myself.
it's such a crazy cult film. It's so crazy. Like it's worth the watch though. Like if you want to scare yourself a little bit with culty stuff, like Midsommar is a movie to check out. But I don't think Diana died by accident.
I don't
I
either.
think that I think that just as much as I think that we went to the moon. The likeliness of us going to the moon and the likeliness of Princess Diana dying by accident are basically the same percentage for me, and I do not believe either of those claims. I'd give them a 14% of being true, and that's being generous with the moon landing.
Yeah, because I'm really certain to not believe they went to the moon. With all the stuff I've
No, I don't
watched
think we
and
did.
stuff, I just can't believe it.
Did you
But
guys
I
hear
think
that in
something else happened in that car or something. I
Yeah,
mean,
no,
yeah.
I think the car was purposefully crashed, to be
Me
honest.
too.
I think dude got paid some money and didn't realize what he was doing, was talked to while he was intoxicated and told what to do. And we don't know who did it. We can't say who did it because no proof, because everybody concluded it was not or because everybody concluded it was an accident. So the legality of all of it is that Princess Diana died in a horrifying accident. So I just find it very hard to believe. There's too many weird things that pop out about it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, dude, don't ever believe the official narrative, Matt. That's the best way to go. Don't ever believe the official narrative because the official narrative is what the officials want to officially notify you of. And those
Oh, yeah.
officials never have your best interest in mind.
That is true.
Their best interest is their pocketbook.
Yeah, and thinking of that, an interesting little tidbit of information about England.
Uh-huh.
You know the Josh and Jace people that came to America and have been exploring Louisiana and Texas? Well,
I don't know anything about them.
okay, well, Josh went back home, and in his mailbox in England, they want you to pay a TV tax, and he's refusing to pay. And if he doesn't pay for a TV tax, he could go to prison.
Yeah. Well,
But he keeps getting all these notifications.
have you heard about what's going on in the UK and in Europe right now with people saying like things on social media or posting memes that people don't like? The cops are literally coming to their house and arresting them for what they posted on the internet.
Yes,
That's
I've
literally
heard about
happening.
that.
So, like, once that happens, you start to realize that we don't have rights anymore.
Exactly.
Definitely not Europe. Europe doesn't have rights anymore at all.
And
Which
it's
is
sad.
Yeah, it's
We
very
should say at the
sad.
same time.
Yeah, it's disgusting what people do, and like as soon as the guns are taken away, that's when everything goes south.
Yep.
Well, anyways, guys, I think that's gonna wrap it up for tonight. This was truly a great episode. I really enjoyed it, crew. Thanks for
I sure did too.
thanks for helping me
Oh
out with
yeah.
this episode and
I've always
talking
loved
about
the
the royal
royal
family.
family.
Yeah, it's interesting to learn about. Like, I wouldn't say I love royals, but I love learning about them. They have
Yeah,
so
I've
much.
always liked the history.
Yeah, they have so much crazy hidden history behind them. Thank you, Matt.
Yes,
They have so much interesting stuff that surrounds them and surrounds the family and just the lore and the possible cultism and the possible ritualistic behaviors that they supposedly went through, whether they were satanic or whatever they could have been. But interesting enough, we're never going to get told the truth. Not
Oh
ever.
yeah.
Nobody's ever going to say a dang thing about the truth. So we just kind of have to live with the official story that the officials tell us until a leaker leaks all of the hidden files that I'm sure they have somewhere. But until then, guys. But until then.
Just like they're. Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, I was just gonna say. Until then, we basically have nothing else to go on.
True. Very true. Just like the Epstein files, I don't think we'll ever get anything unless there's a leaker.
There's too many people on those files, and some of those people are really big name people, and they're other people's heroes, and yeah, they're not going to release that information. I don't see it happening.
Oh yeah.
No money in the truth. Exactly, Matt. Ain't no money in the truth. But anyways, till next time, guys. We're going to be on tomorrow night. We will see you later. Much love from the Robert and Crew Show. Peace out.
If you don't like boring news but still crave the truth, then dive into The Robert and Crew Show. From mind-bending conspiracy theories to wild weather phenomena, we've got it all. Ever wondered what's really happening in your hometown, or what secrets the global news isn't telling you? We dig deep into the core of every story, unraveling the mysteries one podcast at a time. Join Robert and the crew as we navigate this vibrant, ever-changing cyberpunk landscape, bringing you interviews with the most intriguing minds out there. Whether you're a skeptic or a believer, a news junkie or a weather enthusiast, there's something here for you. So strap in, listeners, because we're about to take you on a ride through the neon-lit alleys of truth and intrigue. This is the Robert and Crew Show, where the future meets the fantastic.